Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Enneagram and Coaching. I'm Hillary, your certified Enneagram coach, and today we are going to be talking about what's going on in the world, which is the coronavirus. We are all being quarantined right now, and I wanted to just reach out to you guys. I wanted to share some of my own thoughts and a little bit of my own journey during this time, and hopefully help you guys to not feel so alone. I just thought this would be a really important video during this time to make. I mean, this is an unusual time in our lives, right? Our routines have been disrupted, our lives have been disrupted. I have a feeling a lot of us are moving towards our stress type, right? Each number and type has a stress number we go towards. And I know for me personally, I have, felt that. And so I kind of want to discuss that about all the types and talk about my own journey as a type 9 and then give us some things that we could be doing because God has laid some cool things on my heart and I just want to talk to you guys. It's just a time of chatting and talking about what is going on in the world. All right, so let's start with my journey. I'm a type 9 with an 8 wing, and where does a 9 go under stress? We go towards a 6. And let me tell you, that has happened in the last couple of weeks. I've definitely felt myself getting stressed and anxious, like this little butterfly issue thingy going on in my chest. I know that's just me feeling anxious in these times. But I want to rewind because I really started watching and paying closer attention. I mean, I'd been hearing everything like everybody else in the last couple of months, but about a month ago, I started just to hear more and then we started to hear what was going on in other countries. And I started to think this feels bigger than originally I think all of us thought. And I started to hear the word quarantine. I started to hear the word we're going to be stuck in our homes. And I'm not gonna lie, part of me is a type 9. I'm like, yeah, my home is my castle. I have a really comfortable bed. I have a really comfortable couch. I can watch TV. I can read a book, all of those things. I thought, well, it won't be that bad. But I will say, I did start getting nervous about the food situation. And I started feeling it, and maybe you guys did too. Let me know. When did you start feeling that this was a little bigger than we originally thought? Going to the grocery stores, I started to notice. Okay, actually, this is when it really hit me. I think it was 3 weeks ago I was in Costco, and I know everyone probably has a great Costco story right now. And so I need to actually stock up on bottled water, weirdly enough. And so I'm just super clueless, pushing my cart through the store, and I go to the back, and not only is it empty of water, toilet paper and paper towel like we've seen every day since, but there's a lady standing there with a sign and it pretty much says we're out of everything. And at this point, at least as far as I knew, people weren't talking about stocking up because of the coronavirus. And if they were, I really hadn't caught wind of it. And like I said, I was aware, but I didn't know that that's what we were doing at this point. And so I just went up to the associate and I just said, what's going on? And she did not mention this at all. She just said, people are buying double and triple and quadruple what they normally would buy, and we can't keep up with it. We have another shipment coming in today at 3. And at this point, I think it was maybe 11 in the morning. And I was like, well, I'm not coming back at 3. That's so weird. I had no idea. I was clueless to what was going on in the grocery stores at this point. But I noticed with all of that being gone, I started to look around me. And people did start to look panicked, and I'm like, oh, okay, something's going on. So I called my husband and I said, should I be worried? Should I stock up? What's going on? And he was like, no. He's a type 8. You might have seen our video. I'll link it right there, but we've done a few videos on what it's like to be married together. But anyways, moving on. And he calmed me and said, no, we don't need to do that. And it did start to feel eerie at that point for me. I'm walking through Costco, I got what I needed, and I left, and I was like, okay, I need to pay a little bit closer attention to what's going on. And so I went home, talked to my husband that night, and I just said, well, if water, paper towels, and toilet paper are super important right now, is it going to, keep going to different things? Beans and rice, pasta, non-perishables, dog food. I started to feel this, and I'm like, we live just week to week. We go to the grocery store every week, and I don't necessarily stock up all the time. The weirdest thing is I wanted to go get more dog food. I started to worry about Luke, our dog, that what if people all of a sudden get it in their heads that they need lots of dog food on hand. Does that sound silly to you? It kind of does to me as I'm saying it, but that is where my arrow went to stress. My arrow went to the unhealthy side of the 6, and I started stressed out, but I didn't worry about food at that point, but dog food. And so I'm not gonna lie, I went to the store and I bought 2 bags of Luke's dog food. And my fear was, you know, like probably a lot of dog owners, he can't have normal food. He has a grain allergy and he gets really bad ear infections, and he's a rescue dog. Okay, that's so not what this video is about, but I wanted to explain why I felt the need to stock up on dog food, because I knew he only eats one type of dog food, and I only got 2 bags because I don't want to take away from other people also. I'm, you know, clearly aware that we all are gonna need dog food. So I just got 2 bags because I started to hear those rumblings of like 2 weeks quarantine. What do we do? And so I thought, well, 2 bags will get us through a few weeks. And I didn't even buy huge bags, just as normal size bags. Okay, so moving on, the next few days, I just would tell my husband when we'd go to the grocery store, like, let's just get beans and rice. Let's get some vegetables. It was stuff like that we started to stock up on. But again, I didn't buy enough to live in my house for like 5 months, 6 months. I bought enough to be quarantined for a couple of weeks in case grocery stores did shut down, which we've since heard they're not shutting down, and which I'm grateful for. Okay, fast forward. Are you guys bored yet? I mean, I'm telling you my whole life, but guys, is this not a 9? We start at the beginning of our story and we go all the way to the end. I mean, honestly, that is one of, it has to bother my friends, because I can't just tell a little story. If you want to know, I'm going to start at the very beginning, go through all the details and get to the end. So that's what we're doing today. If you're not a 9, hopefully you're not bored to death right now, because if you are a 9, you probably know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's move on. You've kind of had some backstory on my journey with this coronavirus and what's going on. I live in Arizona, in case you're wondering. And I read that Arizona is the #1 state of hoarding toilet paper. Whether that's true or not, I don't think we'll really know, but I'm like, what is it with us in toilet paper? I don't get it, but we only have 1 pack. I'm pretty sure it'll last enough time, and I'm not worried about that. But okay, what I do want to talk about is like, okay, I kind of wrote some things down that I wanted to go over. The next thing I want to talk about is like where all of us go under stress. You know, if you're a type 1, where do you go in stress? I think it's really important right now to be looking into this, to be researching our stress arrow right now, just to be aware. Because I know for me, so you could tell, like, I was definitely, when I feel anxious during the day, sometimes you know, the last few days I got up and I'm like, oh, I feel a little anxiousness. And I've had to realize, like, what can I do to combat that? Not feel the anxiousness. And I think the awareness of knowing, like, okay, why am I going to the underside of the 6, the unhealthy side of a 6 at this point? And then I deal with the root of that and the why. Because even though the world seems to be really chaotic right now, we could still have self-awareness, have things in place to not completely just nosedive into that unhealthy side of the type that we go towards. I just believe self-awareness can be key right now. And so if you're a type 1, you go towards a type 4 under stress. And we're just talking about the unhealthy sides of each type is where we go. And so what that looks like, you might be a little more moody, a little more irrational. Again, I'm only talking about this to shine a light on it and to see and to do a little more research. If you're feeling this way, okay, let me go research that. And then also on the flip side, all this, as I'm reading it, you're gonna have to give it to God. Just like I have to give my anxiousness to God every day and realize, like, I can't do this all in my own strength. I'm still God's beloved. He's never gonna leave us. He's not gonna forsake us. We don't have to do this in our own strength. When I remember that, you know, it eases where I go in my stress arrow. And so that's why I'm sharing this for each one. You know, I do believe God is the antidote. God is the answer. And so the 1, you know, if you start to feel yourself moody and irrational, like, that is your red flag. And so my advice is to go to God. And for all of the types, so the 2, where do you go? Well, you go to the type 8. And what does that look like? A little more bossy, maybe even hostile. Is that how you say it? Hostile? You guys know. Sometimes I, you know, stumble over my words, but that's where the type 2 goes, you know, to the 8. And so if you find yourself more like, hey, let's go, giving orders, and you know, the heart of you is not like that usually. But if you feel yourself going towards that stress arrow, of the 8 and going like, oh, becoming more bossy and stuff like that, you know, okay, that's your red flag. Why are we stressed out? I mean, we all know kind of why. It doesn't, just because I do believe true peace is not, we do not experience true peace when our environment is peaceful. That's not what God meant. Because didn't God want us to be at peace in the boat with the storm, right? The storm is coming our way. So it means that we still need to have that true peace even if our outside circumstances feel really shaky right now. And so that's why I want to spotlight this. Moving on to the type 3, you go towards the 9, sorry, the unhealthy side of the 9. You can become disengaged and apathetic. I know how that feels. I know what that looks like. And so when you start to recognize that in yourself, that's your red flag. Are you disengaging? Are you becoming apathetic? You know, we're all human, so all of this are human emotions, but these are our go flags. And so I like to think of it too, you know, we're driving down the road and you know how there's those spikes in the road that you can only go over them, but if you go to back up and pop your tire, these kind of things are popping your tire. And so you need your tires fully inflated, and I don't know where the heck that just came from. But there you go. Okay, so let's move on to the type 4. You go towards the 2, the underside of the 2. You can become more clingy, a little bit more over-involved. You know, you would know, what does that look like? Ask yourself, what does that look like in my life and why am I doing that? And that would be your red flag if those kind of things are happening. All right, and moving on. Okay, did the lighting just change? It's raining here today in Arizona, so the lighting might not be great. It might be fluctuating. I may or may not be able to fix that in editing, but if not, there's your reason why the lighting might be fluctuating right now, but I'm just gonna do it. I don't even care. This doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so 5s. Ooh, it's not a good angle. I might leave that in. I just wanna be real with you guys. Okay, so the 5, you move towards the 7, right? You become hyperactive, scattered. That underside of the 7, that's, you know, what you might start seeing happen as you start to feel that stress. You're very hyperactive. You're like, okay, what can we be doing? You know, I mean, normally a 5 would look like they don't have a ton of energy all the time, depending on the 5. But this, all of a sudden, you're hyperactive. You're scattered. That's your red flag. Okay, so the type 6, you move towards the underside of the unhealthy side of the type 3, which means you actually start to become competitive and arrogant. I was thinking about that, like, what could that look like? Is it like, okay, I'm gonna go make sure I'm fully stocked up, or maybe it's not that. Maybe it's, hey guys, I've always been stocked up. You know, I've always prepared for this type of thing, and you're super stocked up. I'm not for sure, but if you start to notice those things, you know, arise, then you know, I'm heading towards my stress arrow, and that's your rumble strip. Like, okay, we need to get back to our true type, you know, which is the 6, not going towards that 3 and grabbing onto that competitiveness and arrogance. Underside of a 3, not your normal 3, the unhealthy side of the 3. Okay, moving on to the 7, you move towards the underside or unhealthy part of a 1, which means you start to become more perfectionistic and critical. If you start to notice that, because 7's like, you would be like, wait, I never see them like that. Well, clearly if they're under stress, that is what comes up. That's what comes to the surface, is that criticalness and that perfectionisticness. Is that a word? Perfectionism. And so again, that's your rumble strip. That's your red flag. You know, if you start to feel that, that's what we need to, you know, kind of deal with and go to God with. And so moving on to that type 8, you move towards the unhealthy side, underside. I like to say underside. It seems less negative. It seems less like, ouch. Is that weird? That's just, I do that a lot. Even when I teach the Enneagram to businesses and churches and stuff, sometimes I'll take some of the negative stuff out because I'm like, it's so painful to say. I won't take like the guts of it, but some of my examples and stuff, if I'm just like, oh, that feels so harsh, I won't do it. I'm just being honest here. Confessions of a type 9. That's just how it is. Leave me a comment in the comment section below if you can relate. Okay, so moving on to the 8. Where do you go? To the unhealthy side of the 5, that average to unhealthy side, and that could mean you might withdraw. You might find yourself doing a ton of research and trying to figure things out and glean more knowledge. and but to a point of like you can't have enough, and so that's the red flag, that's the rumble strip. If you keep researching and you never, you know, find enough out and you just need to know more and more and more, that's when I would go, okay, I think that might be a red flag, and that's when you would kind of, you know, take it to God. And so, okay, and the last one is the type 9. I know this one. As a type 9, I go towards the unhealthy, average to unhealthy side of a type 6. What does that look like? I become anxious and worried and stressed. And I can say for a lot of years, not when I didn't know this, I just thought that was who I was. You know, I'm just an anxious person. I would give myself the label, I have anxiety. That's just who I am. But now I realize, no, that's my rumble strip. That's my whoa, where am I with the Lord? What's going on in my life? And why am I feeling this anxiousness? And so what I do, and I shared this on my Instagram the other day, is, and this could really work for all types, I would think. And you know, let me know, what are you doing? If you're starting to feel stressed, how are you learning to cope? Where are you going? I really believe that in the comment section below, we can help each other. Let's help each other. Let's share ideas. Let's be there for each other. That's the purpose of this video. And so education, and so that we don't feel alone and that we can feel like we're all in this together. And so for me personally, the other night was feeling a lot of anxiousness right before bed. I had read something on Instagram that really unsettled me, and I started to become fearful and worried. And then I realized, like, what am I doing? I mean, I'm able to recognize it right away, right? I'm an Enneagram teacher. I've been studying this for so long. And I realized, wait, why am I doing that? So I just started praying, and God's peace totally washed over me. And I realized, oh, I was trying to do it in my own strength in that moment. And that's not what He has for me. He wants us to trust Him. Even when you're going like, where are you, God? He's here. He hasn't left us. And the other thing I did was practical. I thought, I'm gonna make a list. I want my days to look as normal as they can, right? It can't, I mean, you know, we are totally off course right now, but I want my day to look as normal as it can. So what that looks like for me, because things are disrupted, normally I work out three days a week at a gym, and then 1 day on the weekend hiking. And so this week our gym is closed now. And so what does that look like? Well, I always do classes, and because really I hate exercise. And if I'm in a class, I am way too embarrassed to quit in the middle. So I go to a class knowing I will do 55 minutes of exercise. Anyways, that's a side note. But so I just, you know, went on YouTube and was able to find an exercise class and do it from my living room. So I did that. And then also I knew I had a video I needed to edit that I had been putting off. So I edited my video. I like to start my days off with the Word of God. And what I do is I just go on the Bible app, and I have the 365 days of the Bible. And so I just listen to, that's how I do it. I just listen to someone speaking the Word of God, and that fills me with peace. And so I needed to remember not to stop doing that. I got out my journal. Let me see. Okay. And so I'm gonna journal this process. I want to know. I've already seen God in this process, and in different areas, just in the way we're loving each other, the way when a neighbor needs something. I don't know about you, but we have an app for our neighborhood, and when someone was like, I'm out of wipes, like 15 people were like, and I have your back. And that's what we need to do. Be there for each other, love each other, and use this opportunity to bless each other. And as the church, we need to show up during this time. Maybe we can't physically give hugs, but by giving and being generous and blessing with our words, with our, you know, anything we have, that's how, you know, we can show up and love each other better. And then also, I wanted to plant a garden. And I am actually wondering if this is like because of the coronavirus, if I'm being honest with you. Is that why I want to plant a garden? Because I'm like, I don't know. But I do know that I have realized about myself that I love being outside, and just being in the dirt actually relaxes me. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna plant a garden. And when I looked at what I planted, I love salsa. I planted a salsa garden. So, you know, I'm not gonna be without salsa apparently, because I planted onions, tomatoes, jalapeno, cilantro. I don't know what else you need for salsa, but I did it. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is what God has laid on my heart is what is God calling you to during this time? If you're a 9, our deadly sin is sloth. And so I know right now we might feel if we're going towards that stress side of our arrow, we are feeling like, okay, I'm going to go sloth. I'm going to go lay in bed. I'm going to go watch TV. I'm going to disengage and just go into my own little bubble world so that the world can't affect me. And I'm calling you out right now. No, no, no. It's time to go out of that. It's time to go after what does God have for you? Because I know, no matter your type, this might speak to you right now, but I know the 9s are the ones that struggle with waking up to our own dreams and desires. But it's like, almost like the world, there's so much more silence now, so we can hear our own voice and hear what's going on and start looking inside and going, what is God calling me to? What is in my journal? What have I written down? You know, it might have been 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even more than that. What is God calling you to? Because I know He has something for you to be doing right now. Is it you're supposed to start a book? Are you supposed to write a book? I'm talking to you if God has spoken that to you before. Is this the time? Do you have more time on your hands than you know what to do with? Has He put that story on your heart? It's time. Is it a podcast? I mean, we're all wanting to listen to more podcasts right now. Is it start a YouTube channel? My husband and I, most of our TV is through YouTube. If I'm being honest with you, we have our channels we love to watch, and that's mostly where we watch TV. And so maybe God has put that on your heart. And if you're like, well, I don't have the right equipment, just start. My kids actually told me, I have a 19-year-old son and a 17-year-old son, and they told me the reason why they like YouTube is it's not perfect. That totally encouraged me because, you know, this channel, we are not perfect. But they said they don't want to watch stuff that's so well done and perfection and edited. They like real. And so let's go. Let's do this. Don't let anything hold you back. Even if you just have to use your phone, you can do it. And so I want to encourage you with that. What else? Is He calling you just to organize your house? You know, are there projects you've put off for a long time and, you know, you have the time now, you can organize it. And because sometimes when you organize your house, you can kind of feel more organized inside and go to the next thing you need to do. You know, is He calling you to spend more time with your family? Make that call. Is there a friend that you haven't talked to and that you're like, gosh, I need to pick up the phone and call them? Is there people on your list that you're like, you just never have time to Marco Polo them or even just over the phone or texting just to reach out to each other, just to let each other know like we're here for each other? I know for me, this has brought me even closer to all the relationships in my life. We're checking on each other every single day, and I would say do that. Check on the people in your life. It's important. There's so much else out there that you might be wanting to do. Is it cooking? Is it is it writing a cookbook? Is it trying recipes out? Is it, you know, playing games with your kids? And I don't know, there's so much out there that God could be putting on your heart right now. Leave it in the comments below. Let me know. What is God calling you to do? I would love to know. I know for me, He is calling me to make these videos. It is not easy, but I do it. He's also calling me to write a book. I put it off for 20 years and I do have some of it written, but now I'm like, well, I have more time to focus on that. And yeah, that's for now, that's what I want to challenge you with. Like, what is God calling you to do during this time of quarantine, this quarantine time, you know? I know also a lot of churches are online now. I would say don't forget to show up and watch, you know, find people that can encourage you. You know, make sure you have encouraging voices in your life. And hopefully I'm one of them. And so I just want to encourage you today. You know, what is God doing? What is God asking of you? And what does that look like? So, but I know this video is way too long and I need to just close it down. If you have any other questions or concerns or anything, leave them in the comment section below. I'll answer what I can. So guys, that's all I got. If you want to find me on Instagram, I'm Hillary_McCaskey_coaching. If you want to find me on my website, it's enneagramandcoaching.com. I have another Instagram, Enneagram and Coaching. I am going to be making stuff for that hopefully this week. I just put that off, guys. That's something that God did call me to do a few months ago, and I've put it on the back burner. I need to move it to the front, and I have the time, so no excuses now. Thank you so much if you've made it to this point. Congrats. Do some clappies. I hope this really helped you. That was my point, And my heart was just to help you guys and be there for each other and love each other and, you know, listen to what we're needing to be doing right now. My heart just goes out to what's going on in the world, but let's just keep praying and believing and being strong together. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Until next time, bye. Okay, I like that. I like it, but let's do it again because I don't know how much I really like it. Let's do that again. Take two. Blah, blah, blah. All right, guys.